Is the Mythic unique drop rate worse in Season 8 than in previous seasons? No. Don't let my first run fool you. Yeah, there's nothing on the first run, but wait for the next one. On run 3, we find a Mythic unique. Ho ho ho! A Duriels Might. Aw, Mythic, baby! Ah, so easy! Also, a 1-star Godslayer crown. Also, a 1-star Soul Brand. On run 4, we find a Mythic unique. Ho ho ho! An Duriels Visage. Ah, the purples! On run 8, we find a Jaw rune. On run 12, we have a Belial spawn. Does he drop a Mythic unique? No. We have a 1-star Ring of Red Furor. Also, a 1-star Tusk Helm. On run 13, we find a 1-star Azurath. Also, a 1-star Battle Trance. Also, a 1-star Banished Lord's Talisman. Also, a Lith rune. On run 14, we find a 2-star Soul Brand. On run 20, we find a Yam rune. A Yam rune. The amount of runs where both Duriel and Belial dropped loot with no greater affixes at all was 61 runs. On run 24, we find a 1-star Butcher's Cleaver. Also, a Vex rune. On run 32, we find a 2-star Ugly Bastard Helm. On run 46, we have a Belial spawn. Does he drop a Mythic unique? No. We find a 1-star Godslayer crown. Also, a Vex rune. On run 59, we have a Belial spawn. Does he drop a Mythic unique? No. We find a 1-star Battle Trance. The most amount of consecutive runs where Belial did not spawn was 23 runs in a row. On run 63, we find a 1-star X-File ring. Also, an Igni rune. On run 71, we have a Belial spawn. Does he drop a Mythic unique? No. We find a 1-star Rage of Harrogath. The number of uniques that had exactly 1 greater affix from both Duriel and Belial was 52 uniques. On run 83, we find a Mythic unique. Ho! A Duriels Might. Mythic, baby! On run 87, we find an Olm rune. On run 89, we find a 2-star X-File ring. On run 90, we have a Belial spawn. Does he drop a Mythic unique? No. We find a Lith rune. The number of legendary runes that dropped over the 100 runs was 8 legendary runes. On run 97, we have a Belial spawn. Does he drop a Mythic unique? Ho ho ho! A Grandfather. Ah, the purples, baby! Also, a 1-star Tusk Helm. The amount of times Belial spawned in the 100 runs was 12 times. On run 100, the final run, do we get a Mythic unique? No. We find nothing. 4 Mythic uniques from Duriel and Belial, a similar amount to previous seasons.